Call the council meeting to order.
Yes, we do have a couple amendments. First is a letter we received from John Stewart, the Secretary of the Black BIA. I provided council with a copy of Mr. Stewart's documentation. We also are adding another thing for in camera, specifically solicitor-client communications, legal advice regarding Wingham Airport. And then thirdly, Pat Newsom has a request from the Wingham Hitman. Thank you.
I'm not on the agenda, but I would do the department reports if you would like.
Okay. And where did you first should it be Business Horizon?
Sure.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay, with those additions, do I have a mover of the agenda? Gowan and Hallahan, all in favor? Carried. Okay, declaration of pecuniary interest, if any.
I have one under item number 3 in bylaws, as well as the report on the Director of Finance on water and sewer.
Okay. Okay, moving to the Reeves report, there was a number of cell phones went off last meeting. We really enjoy having a gallery. There is staff and counselors that may have to take calls. When cell phones go off on the gallery, we will ask that person to leave the meeting. If you put them to silent so you can slip out without interfering with the meeting, that is perfectly admissible, but we will ask people in the gallery not to disturb the meeting, so that's one of the things that I would be watching. For people's individual attention, there's a number of things going on at the AMO conference in London. Officially started this morning. That I was at 4 sessions yesterday, found them very informative. We'll be bringing more information back, especially to staff on certain things that came through in the meetings. Moving forward, reading of the minutes of the previous meeting, August 5th. Do I have a mover?
I move approval.
Wadden and Campbell. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, Gary, do you want to introduce the deputation?
Okay, Laura Lucio.
Good evening, Mr. Reed, Council. Just as importantly, in an economically beleaguered democracy, the press and the citizens of the public gallery observing the proceedings. Mr. Reeve, let me begin by expressing my disappointment and that of my co-applicant Plantagenet partners who were excluded from formal mention on the published agenda. Because of the complexity of the subject that we wanted to address, we could have used the extra 10 minutes allotted to delegations. I faxed to my Plantagenet partners a copy of the deputation form, along with the online published agenda, and satisfied them that I did indeed include them as part of the deputation on the request form. They saw that it said in clear bold letters, Laura Lucio and Plantagenet Partners. I advised them, as now I'm advising you, that I must accept responsibility for not stipulating the specific number in the intended delegation on my request form. I cannot in good conscience hog the responsibility for leaving their names off the agenda. That honor entirely should be bestowed somewhere else, unshared with anyone. In the time-starved reality that most working people experience in today's uncongenial labor market, I hastily assumed that as the municipality has long been aware of my partners, that the size of the deputation was a given, and that the clerk and council would have been eager that my democratized Plantagenet partners be heard and seen. The municipality has known for some years now that some of the components of my still struggling, besieged project in Blythe included the co-projects of my Plantagenet partners, who are nephews and cousins of the Plantagenet kings, of whom Shakespeare authored so many plays, and are descendants of the Scottish kings Duncan and Malcolm, and first cousins to the king's antagonist Macbeth. As my father told the recently retired Deputy Reeve Councillor Dave Reach, we used to quip that Blythe would be able to claim that Stratford had Shakespeare's plays about the tribulations of British royalty, but Blythe, just a short excursion away, had the real thing. In spite of their authoritarian ancestry, my Plantagenet partners are committed egalitarians, and like myself are appalled by the current plague of precarious employment that unfettered transnational corporate capitalism breeds and appears to favor. Also like myself and my family, my Plantagenet partners fully subscribe to the basic ideas underlying the initiative now being undertaken in Blythe, and which initiatives and underlying ideas I and my family have often and precisely expressed and urged in our many earnest correspondences and conversations with the municipal structures that have comprised the village of Blythe since 1997. But we perceive what to us seems a glaring deficiency in many current tourism-oriented undertakings for economic recovery. The notable Shorefast Foundation initiative of Fogle Island, now in its 10th year of operation, numbered among them. My father and I warned of the probability of this situation developing in a 117-page critique of existing conditions and impediments to business development in Blythe, which was sent by registered mail October the 6th, 2004 to the then Reeve of North Huron, Doug Layton. That deficiency is a failure from the very beginning to aim for and prepare for ownership involvement by the community. Only in this way can there be any hope of meeting head-on the unforgiving monster of precarious employment. In response to the new economic realities, there are many concepts being developed today based on years of successful experience in pioneer, worker-owned, and community-owned enterprises, such as Mondragon in Spain, where their motto is, labor is entitled to all it creates. It is seen all over the Basque region of Spain and beyond. The Mondragon system was created in a deep understanding of a form of humanism based on solidarity and participation, and the importance of acquiring necessary knowledge and not remaining ignorant about what is important. Today, we would call that critical thinking. In the first 15 years of Mondragon experience, many cooperatives were established and 2 support bodies were set up that were to play a key role in the development of Mondragon. The Caja Laboral was a credit union that was established in 1959, and the social welfare body called the Lagoon Arrow was established in 1966. The Caja Laboral credit union has become the major financial provider behind the cooperative movement that has spread to cover the entire Basque region with over 370 branch offices there and beyond. It has over 1,800 employees who are actually the partner owners of the bank. Following the cooperative philosophy of shared ownership and stewardship, the Caja Laboral generates annual revenue in excess of 330 million euros. It is so robust that it was mostly unaffected by the 2008 financial crisis, even though they held 162 million euros in bonds from the infamous Lehman Brothers. In North America, Professor Gara Perovitz at the University of Maryland has the most extensive worker-owned enterprise development experience in North America, especially in Ohio. He and others have brought over 40 years of knowledge gained in that pursuit to bear on the problem of precarious employment in the now flourishing Democracy Collaborative, comprising many organizations which have close connections and interactions with Canadian counterparts. David Bollier, a senior fellow of the Annenberg School of Communication at the University of Southern California, is a co-founder of the Commons Strategy Group, which is focused on reclaiming the commons, understanding how digital technologies are changing democratic culture, fighting the excesses of intellectual property law, fortifying consumer rights, and promoting citizen action. His many books, celebrated by everyone except for global corporate interests, I've made note of them and have a list here if anybody was interested in looking at them. Self-organized commons are undergoing a renaissance today as one of the most robust alternatives to contemporary capitalism. They include many diverse endeavors. A commons consists of a community with rules, social norms, and accepted practices for managing a shared resource. Commons are typically run by a group of people who choose to manage a resource in a collective manner, with a special regard for equitable access, use, and stewardship. Many, if not all, of the initiatives that Life is contemplating could be marshaled under a collective umbrella and integrated with community-owned, worker-owned, and necessary self-employment models that could provide, potentially, full-time, year-round employment. If employees work at various of the other developed enterprises under the cooperative's varying ownership models. There's a very important distinction to be made between community-owned and municipally owned. A famous 1968 essay titled Tragedy of the Commons by Garrett Hardin gave an air of ill repute to the idea of the commons, in which he described what was not commons at all, but in truth something more akin to a free market, especially that of today, in which widely acknowledged criminals who openly have built the world of billions of dollars are not only punished, but are rewarded handsomely. Too big to fail, too big to jail. Cooperatives in Canada represent a large and diverse heritage of Canadians working together to build better communities based upon cooperative principles. With credit unions and Caisse Populaire, they have under their umbrella around $270 billion in assets. The Canadian Co-op Zone Developers Network Cooperative has been incorporated since 2009 and held their most recent annual general meeting in 2013. And their motto is, "You're right, there is a better way." Today's economics is committed to the ideology that proclaims that human progress is best served by privatizing and monetizing everything. And this ideology manifests itself via the so-called free marketplace, in which so many are locked in exploitive limbo. Shouldn't an economy serve people rather than being in servitude to the economy? Real wages have stagnated since the mid-1970 levels, at the mid-70 level, while labor productivity soared, yielding employer records in revenues and in profits. Income and wealth inequality is returning to 19th century robber era levels. In February of 2014, the PEPSO Research Group, PEPSO, their acronym, stands for Poverty and Employment Precarity in Southern Ontario, released a report called It's More Than Poverty, Employment Precarity and Household Well-Being is the full title of the document. It enumerates the grave situation that a growing number of workers find themselves across all age brackets. The situation is fueling a growing sense of public unease and a sense that something is wrong with the labor market that amply rewards the few, but leaves the majority of Canadians facing growing employment and income insecurity, low wages, and uncertain career paths. In the document, It's More Than Poverty, it exposed how precarious employment can shape and limit key life decisions, including partnership formations, where to live, housing, whether to have children, childcare options, recreation, and other choices that can impact the quality of life and the well-being of individuals and households. The problem is so deep and pervasive that it has been universally concluded that a higher minimum wage is not enough. We are now at a turning point in how we organize the relationship between employers and employees. How we adapt to this change will shape the health of families and communities in the future. In intensely focused tourism areas with a highly controlled hospitality industry and with BIAs, the challenge is even more daunting for workers. Property taxes for homeowners tend to rise for a number of tourism-related reasons. The community stakeholders can dictate maintenance of residential homes and properties as mandated and empowered by the municipal government through the Municipal Act. Michael Lewis, from the Canadian Centre for Community Renewal, decries corporate capitalism's dead-end thinking in his book called Resilience Imperative. And Canadian economist Michael Leibovitz has stated in an interview as recently as 2013 that people should struggle against every assault by capital and every violation of our conceptions of justice. In the absence of a positive vision, capital can and will separate and defeat those who oppose it. Highly visible academics, economists, and many other cross-disciplinary specialists are dedicating themselves to a more expansive and pluralistic response to the brutalization of neoliberal corporate capitalism and are working towards a democratic economic system that promotes social ownership of the economy and led by the worker and the community decision-making led by the worker and building upon aspects of a moral economy. A system that can allow production for the needs of life on the planet and for social facilitation rather than simply for exchange and the mindless personal wealth and power acquisition and accumulation by the most aggressive few. I ask that the municipality consider giving support to the forming and organizing of study groups to research and discuss these options that I believe are a necessary component in the economic mix if employment precarity is to be forestalled in North Huron. Essentially, any community, rural or urban, in today's economic environment. Thank you.
Questions from council?
Could you leave a copy of that with us?
I should have, yeah.
Study? Thank you.
One more for you, Bob? Okay. Anything else? Anybody question?
Any other questions? Okay,
All right then.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving to business arising from previous meetings. Point 1, councillor vacancy by ward. Huron.
Okay, thank you. We've, just by way of background, you recall that former Blythe Ward Councillor David Reach resigned effective July 23rd, and that created a vacancy for one of the Blythe Ward positions on North Huron Council. I reviewed the Municipal Act and Municipal Election Act provisions with Council, the provisions regarding the filling of vacancies, and we confirmed that Council had to take action to fill that vacancy. Advertisements were placed in local papers. For 2 weeks, we also included an advertisement on our municipal website, and I can confirm as clerk that we received one application by the deadline, and that was Mr. Bill Knott of Blythe, and wanted to conduct the swearing in at this time, right? See if
Procedural question. I would make the motion that we approach Mr. Knott and see if he's interested in accepting the position. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
There, now you.
Thanks. second.
I, William Knott, having been elected or appointed to the office of councillor in the municipality of the Township of North Huron, solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or in any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Congratulations.
For now.
Excuse me?
Oh, okay.
And one more.
Supposed to smile, Bill.
Okay, two more.
Congratulations. Joe, congratulations.
Okay, moving to point 2 in business arising. The letter from John Stewart, BIA, Gary. Go through it generally.
Okay, copy for you there, Council. Okay, we received a letter from John Stewart, Secretary of the Blythe BIA. You may recall several months ago, the Blythe BIA, members of the Blythe BIA executive came before council to request a $2,500 contribution to match a similar contribution from HEDP, Huron Economic Development Partnership. That was for funding contribution for a part-time community improvement coordinator in downtown Blythe. Council approved that request. The nature of this request is that the Blythe BIA is requesting a loan from the township in the amount of $3,325 payable to the Blythe BIA if and or when funds are required prior to the Blythe BIA receiving the final payment from HEDP. So as I understand it, the Blythe BIA would like to initiate the contract with the part-time person, but requires some additional cash flow to make that happen. The loan money would be paid back eventually from the funds that they are guaranteed to receive from HEDP.
Gallen and Auden. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to department reports. Point 3, CAO clerk. Point 1, election compliance audit committee.
Okay, thank you, Reeve. The Municipal Elections Act requires that council establish a compliance audit committee. This committee will review any complaints that may come in regarding election campaign financing and specifically candidate campaign financing activities. All candidates are required after an election to file financial statements detailing their campaign financing activity. If there is a complaint lodged by an elector. This committee are the ones that conduct that review. There is a subcommittee of the Huron clerks and treasurers that has been formed, and we've been meeting a couple of times this year. We've put together a terms of reference that is attached to the bylaw that is part of the bylaw section. The bylaw appoints 4 individuals. There's 3 individuals and then an alternate that who is appointed. It should also be noted that this committee is for all of Huron County, and they would conduct reviews in individual municipalities if required. So this report really is just for information only, to say that we are required under the Elections Act to establish a committee, and just an FYI that there will be a bylaw for your consideration later in the evening that deals with the appointment of the 4 individuals, also outlines terms of reference for the compliance committee. And we do have 4 individuals who have expressed an interest in sitting on the committee, and they will be appointed with your approval.
Motion in favor of this?
It's not necessary, but sure.
I think it'd be cleaner, a motion that we adopt a committee. Wyden and Hallahan? Any discussion?
I'm just saying that I think it's a very sensible approach rather than having each municipality go through the same process. And it also gives us a very objective view because it's not somebody all from one community.
All in favor? Carried. Okay. You want to put strategic plan update status comments or the other stuff? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, just a brief update on our strategic plan. I've provided a brief report for council. I've also handed out a strategic plan status report as of August 2014. When council and staff and the community finalized this document, we came up with 93 action items. And there has been considerable progress on 81 of the 93 action items. Some have been completed. Most are in progress or ongoing. And some of the action items still need to be initiated. I think it's fair to say that these aren't the only action items that township staff and council and the community are working on. There's lots of things on the go, and I think all of those things that are on the go are supported by our strat plan. So when we first started out, we identified 93 action items. And like anything we do around here, it requires a collaborative approach between council, staff, and the community. So there's still a lot more work to do, but I think we've made a lot of progress. In the status report, I've color-coded it, so green is completed, yellow is ongoing, some sort of beige color is delayed, and then red is stopped. There's a few blanks in here that I just need a bit more information, but I certainly will flush this out a bit more over the next week or so. From my standpoint, our senior management team and municipal staff have embraced the document. They're very supportive of the strategic plan. The question we ask ourselves at the staff level is, how does this action or activity or decision fit within the goals and the themes of our strategic plan and where we need to go as an organization? But how is this going to be good for the community and for the entire township? So those are the questions that we ask ourselves at the staff level as we undertake projects and initiatives on your behalf.
So one thing I was gonna ask is, Gary, I imagine you're gonna put a copy of this on the website, one, so the public has the opportunity to see what progress is made. And it's good that it's not just color coded, but it's also, you've made notations under the status column that sort of delineates the progresses that have been made or what areas have been worked in. So thank you for that. I think that's helpful to council and the public.
Rock?
I have to eat some crow here. I was very much against the process of our developing the strategic plan internally. We had a new CAO who, as far as I know, never developed a strategic plan of this nature. We had a council that had never developed a strategic plan of this nature. And the conventional wisdom is that you, under those circumstances, you always bring in an outsider to help. Now, I think an outsider would have got to this result faster than we did. It took a long, long time to get there. But I have to say, I'm very proud of what we have done, and I think it's worked well. And I think we'll be in better shape to do the next one, the revision of this, as we go into the future. When I say we, the next council.
Councilor Vaughn missed one point, though, can also save the municipality a lot of money in consulting fees. I can say that because you're a former consultant.
James?
This is the second strategic plan that I've gone through. I went through with one of making that way. And Gary, I think you've done a great job on this. And everything is there, and I look forward to going through this and just seeing the progress that we actually have made over short term that we have this on. Thank you.
Certainly, it's a document that is a roadmap for staff. We see it as a document that helps us at the staff level solve problems and see opportunities. And I think, as Councillor Vaughn said, it's important that this continue to be a living document, and that council and staff and the community meet regularly to get reports and updates, but that you revisit the action items and the goals and the vision that you all agreed to a couple of years ago. Okay, thank you.
Not to be a wet blanket, but now my other comment is that because this is a living, breathing document, and I think when we discussed doing this, we wanted to be sure that it wasn't just a document that sat on the shelf, and I don't think it has been to this point. But I think it's maybe a relevant time now to sit down and step back and say, okay, now let's put some timelines and achievables to the areas that haven't been completed yet. And I think that we can do that. Again, there is a new councillor going to be coming along in December, but I think it would be wise of us to sit down and assess, okay, sort of where the plan is, where those different areas, how quick there may be other achievables that we could work towards to sort of focus even further on any areas that we should be moving ahead on quicker maybe than we would have. I just think it would be good for council to sit down and reassess that.
Thank you. Anything else on that subject? Okay, moving to point 4, Director of Finance. Donna, do you want to give some background, please?
Okay, thank you. So we started our water and wastewater rate review last December, and we had an information meeting in June for council, and we had our public meeting last Wednesday, August 13th. So this is our 5-year plan setting out our water and wastewater rates for the next 5 years with an effective date as January 1st, 2015. So as I said, all the information was presented last week at the public meeting. And does council have any further questions that you've thought about since that time? So if not, I would ask council to pass a motion to adopt the recommendations outlined in this study with an effective date as January 1st, 2015.
Campbell moves. Vaughn seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Yes, sir.
Okay, point 5, Pat has a letter from the Hitman.
Yeah, I received a late Friday request from the Wingham Hitmen. They are attempting to hold their year-end tournament in Wingham, which is really good for us. Part of our strategic plan was to use sport tourism as an opportunity for economic growth, and a lot of time and energy was put into upgrading the ball diamonds in North Huron. So we're encouraged that another group wants to hold another tournament. So the Hitmen hold their annual slow pitch tournament, which is a fundraiser. This is their year-end tournament. So by any team in the league can really host the year-end tournament. There's no big bucks to be made by doing this. They have to rent a tent. They've got to outsource the bar services. They have to organize all the games. And the other thing they have to do is rent the diamonds. So they have requested that we set a flat rate for the weekend rather than the full rate. Based on their current plan for rental, it would be at $590.70 plus tax for the weekend. They've asked for a reduction in that rate of $350, basically $140 for Saturday and Sunday, and $75 for the Friday. There's no one else booked on the diamonds for that weekend. It is planned for Friday, September 12th to Sunday, September 14th. So it's a great opportunity to bring many teams to our community for what will be a great tournament with lots of spectators. We've built the new fields. Let's host this tournament. But in order for them to do that, they really need a break in the fees, and I'm sure they would also appreciate being considered for a break on the fee for the tent permit, which is another fee which we will have to charge them in order for them to erect their tents. So I'm asking council to consider their request, and if I have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Oh, sorry, and I guess we'll need to designate this an event of municipal significance. Although they're getting a liquor license, we do have the other issue of noise bylaw and such, so we just want to make sure that it is considered. I know you're saying no, but for the noise, don't we have to designate it as a festival or something? The noise bylaw?
You tell me.
Yeah.
But
not municipal significance for the liquor, but in order for us to allow them to have noise until 1 in the morning, which is typical of these tournaments.
Kathy?
And that is a third item, different than municipal significance.
Okay, sorry, it's a festival then, or
You also have to ask for an extension to that.
If I might, Your Worship. Yeah. My understanding was you only have to designate that it's a municipal significant event for liquor licenses if it's requested. The noise bylaw extension is a completely separate animal, so I don't think you need one to have the other. You can make an extension to the noise bylaw based on request.
okay. So I'm requesting for a fee change for the tournament, for the rental rate, and for the tent permit. And then a second request would be to have an exemption of the noise bylaw for the Friday and Saturday night. Apologize for that mistake.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Or,
I'll make the motion for both items. Can we include them in one motion, or should we?
we should do it in
Two separate. Okay, I'll make the motion that we approve the first one having to do with the rent reduction, fee reduction.
Campbell seconds. Any further discussion? Bill?
There has been stated, what are you reducing the tent fee?
I don't have a specific request, so council could make that their decision, whether they want to waive it or put it to half price.
What is
it? It's $85 per tent. They're planning for one tent.
I would stipulate 50% reduction in the motion.
For everything, or for the tent?
For the tent.
Okay.
Okay, with the second. Further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, for exemption from the noise bylaw, it was in that act, and it is at 50%.
I'll make a motion to extend the noise bylaw.
McGowan and Bailey,
Is it for all nights?
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and
Just the Friday,
Saturday.
I'll stipulate that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, Pat. Moving forward, the council information portion. Anything council wants to bring forward? Brock.
I'd just like to make a note that I think someone should be prepared to attend any of the meetings that they have locally to cover the presentations that are going to be available according to the adult billing model.
Okay. I was at a presentation today on that. So
That may be
that
covered.
I do have information that I will be bringing in from this most recent submission, the third offer type of thing.
Well, that's good. As long as it's covered,
Basically,
be aware of this.
Looking at the 60% base, 40% on calls, the sort of average, approximately $203 per household or business building, whether it's a variety store or a 20 store strip mall, they would be looked at the same. So basically somewhere around $350 ballpark per property that would be looked at. I'll let council read the written portion. That's just some of the ballpark information. Donna, do you want to give some update on that right now?
Sure. So we haven't received our actual costings, as you know, this information has just come out. And we did attend some of the information meetings. This has been going on for well over a year, these discussions, so I know you're familiar with a lot of it. Just to give you a bit of a background, right now for Blythe and East Wampanoag wards, which received the OPP policing, this year it cost us $218,827, which works out to, based on the household, the previous household calculation, that would be about $252 a household. So some of the early estimates we had indicated that it would go up as high as $369 a household, which could be, for us, about $98,000 increase on the levy for the two wards. But they have listened to some of the information that went back, which are now a different base cost, split 60-40. Actually, one of the suggestions had been for a phased-in period. There is a 5-year phase-in now, which is great because before these bills were going to land on our desk for January 1st, 2015, when we would have already started budget deliberations, so it was going to be very difficult to take all of that into account. So as you've indicated, there's going to be a number of information sessions, and we were promised that we would have our actual estimates per municipality sometime this summer. Now, I'm not sure, there's nothing in here to indicate when those might be coming out, but there's still some work to do and some clarification on what constitutes a call for service and some of the guidelines around that. So anyway, we will definitely be talking about this every month for the next couple of months for sure. But some of the changes, it's encouraging that they didn't do away with it, but at least some of the information that was suggested under the model looks like it has been adopted and will be incorporated. So stay tuned, but you're going to pay more.
I'll wait $90 a household.
His. Other points in council information?
Just on number 4 on the chip, we talked about this at the last meeting. Has anybody come forward to ask for that sign to be put out on the highway?
Kathy, do you?
She schools just back today for the holidays, and he usually looks after the signs, so, I will talk to him.
Okay, thank you. Just have three quick questions on, Donna's and, on finances. On page 3, there's a CG equipment for $2,045.
Those are both items for public works, so Kelly can maybe speak to those. One is replacing tie rods, and the other one is some general repairs under the works department. So that was CG equipment, Kelly.
Yeah, that would be for the case file.
Oh, okay. I have another one probably for Kelly too, and that's on page 6, the ICE lighting for $1,700. Is that what you sound kind of
Have you done that at ICT lighting?
That's at the Blythe Arena.
So, like, sale company in Stratford.
Yeah, I believe that is, I could confirm, but I'm pretty certain that is the new bulbs over the surface. They have to be replaced every so often, every 3 to 4 years because they fade.
Oh, you just do them all then?
Yep.
That's why they're, okay. And the last one I have is from Melissa Scott, $1,364 on page 7.
That is for attending a conference, so all of her hotel and meal and fees are paid up front, and then she's reimbursed after she attends the training.
Just curious, was it a conference?
It was for something called Can Fit Pro. It's a 3.5-day conference in Toronto for fitness professionals, and our staff are required to get so many CECs, continuing education credits, in order to maintain their certifications as fitness professionals. So by attending this conference, she is able to get a number of those, which will carry her over the next couple of years for CECs.
Thank you.
Right.
Page 2, the Blackburn Radio Incorporated, what was that advertising for? It was $1,800.
I think that was the radio advertising campaign was approved by council. It was the North Huron ads. There were 3 ads that were produced by Blackburn Radio, and I suspect this is a portion of the advertising campaign that we subscribed.
Yeah, I was with the understanding we were supposed to look into that a little bit more for.
We've done.
For other radio stations.
It was passed to go ahead with this and investigate other stations. But the motion was passed to do the proposal with Blackburn. Anything else? Okay, motion to receive, read, and file. Bailey and Campbell. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to committee reports. Is there any questions on Blythe BIA? Okay.
I just have one about that, just out of curiosity. We put Ray as the representative for them. Are we going to revert back now to the Blythe Council, Bill now? Or is that with Ray?
I don't know how the motion went.
I thought you were motioning for interim,
Yeah,
which is done now.
So,
Well,
I didn't,
He likes
September.
No,
No,
doesn't want to
fine.
resign
No.
now.
I lost my job before I got it. No, I guess my first meeting was going to be September the second.
Morning.
Yeah, but that's fine. Now, we've got a representative, that's fine to bring back to Bill. I haven't got a problem with that.
Are you agreeable, Bill, if
I
they made a
attend.
motion?
I attended, so I was at the last
We
meeting.
probably should do it by motion.
So I would make a motion to appoint Bill Knox for the permanent balance of the council term.
Up to meetings.
Second,
Backing out.
Campbell seconds. All in favor? Carried. Good job, Bill.
Did you have questions? For me?
No, no.
Oh, that was all you
Just since you were in, I want to make sure he's permanent.
Okay, point two in committee reports, Wingham BIA, is there any questions? Or do you have any further comments that you feel need to be added, Bernie?
Not tonight. No comments tonight. Where is that maybe?
Okay, moving to bylaws. Bylaw number 54, 2014, being a bylaw to establish a municipal elections joint compliance audit committee and to appoint members to that committee.
I move first, second, and third reading.
Moved. Ray, you're seconding? Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, bylaw number 55, 2014, being a bylaw to approve the expropriation of certain lands in the township of North Huron.
We perhaps should have a bit of an explanation to
You want-
Mr. Knott.
Or Donna?
Sure. So we've been working for some time on the expropriation of the property in Blythe known as the Lawn Tennis Club property. So it's been a property that has had no clear ownership title to it for quite some time. And in order to protect the interest of the Blythe Lions Club and the municipality, we wanted to take steps to be able to get that property into the township name. There's two other pieces of property there which are currently owned by the Blythe Lions Club, but we went through those processes because the Lions Club owns them, then they become taxable. So then we had to go through another whole set of processes to be able to make them exempt. So in this route, our first step is at least to get it into proper ownership title into the township's name. And it seems logical to leave it in the township name because then it would be tax exempt and we wouldn't have to go through the other portions. So we went down a number of avenues in order to get the title transferred to the township, and we found that expropriation was the best and fastest way to go about it. So we had to undertake a number of steps, which were to, it appeared in the Blythe paper for 4 consecutive weeks. We had to get an appraisal and some of those types of things and a survey done. So we're in our last steps. We've had no objections or any comments received. We've been working closely with the Lions Club on this property. And so our last step here tonight, not the last step, but one of the last steps regarding the bylaw portion, is to pass this bylaw outlining that we have completed all the necessary steps, and then once the bylaw is registered, then the survey documents would also be registered and we would still be able to move forward. Nothing is ever as simple as we hope, so the survey then showed that the Lions Club building encroaches onto this property, which we knew that, which was one of the reasons why we wanted to get this matter looked after. So one of the next steps will be to prepare an encroachment agreement and so that the Lions Club are protected, that the portion of their building that sits on our property now, obviously they can leave it there. And also there's a laneway issue. The laneway sits on this expropriated piece as well. So we want to ensure that they have access. So those will be some of the next pieces coming forward to council after we get through the pieces of registering the bylaw, and then there's some certificates that the Region Court have to sign as well. Further to that, we could discuss also, we don't have a formal document then saying that the Lions Club has exclusive use of the property, so that's something we should probably look at in the future as well to make sure that they're allowed to continue use of the property and the buildings and that type of thing. That's in a nutshell.
Any further questions or comments? We have no second. No, it's to move for a second. Ray, moving.
Yes.
James seconded. All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 56, 2014. Being a bylaw to authorize the signing of an agreement between the Corporation of the Township of North Huron and the Municipality of Morris Turnberry regarding the supply of water and sewer services to owners or occupants of land beyond the limit of the municipality. And I think we have a and I think it should be in the municipality of Morris Turnberry rather than of. So that I would put that as possibly a printing mistake.
I would suggest the limit of, beyond the limit of the municipality of Morris.
We can't do anything other than in North Huron though.
Right, okay. Yeah, it's still a problem.
I move we table this until
Until next meeting.
Yeah. For review.
I don't think we can table it since it hasn't been a motion made on it. I think we just pass it over and for consideration in the next meeting.
Gary?
Just by way of background, and ultimately we'll take council's direction on this, but we have, North Huron has a cross-border services agreement with Morris Turnberry. It's been in place for, I think, almost 5 years. It's due to expire later this year. There have been discussions between myself and Morris Turnberry's clerk administrator, and our chief utilities operator, and our director of finance on the agreement and ways that we can provide clarity and more consistency throughout the agreement. There's basically, I think I would characterize the changes as being sort of housekeeping changes. The rights and obligations and terms and expectations outlined in the agreement have not changed. What we've done is we've clarified wording, we've strengthened wording. There was a couple sections where information was missing, and so the three of us at North Huron have worked with Morris Turnberry, specifically Nancy Mickey, to really, to ensure we've got a current, accurate agreement that reflects the existing arrangement, servicing arrangement that we have with them. Certainly staff are quite comfortable with the revisions that have been made. I would characterize them as minor and housekeeping in nature. That being said, if council would prefer to defer this until September 2nd, then that's your prerogative. But just by way of background as to the review that was undertaken by staff.
I think this is just a minor wording in this item. I don't think there's any doubt about the intent or the value of it. I would suggest the wording be going from the third last line to owners or occupants of land within the municipality of Morris Turnberry. North Huron is providing services to occupants within Morris Turnberry. I'd be prepared to move first, second, and third reading of that.
Thank you. Is
Did
there,
we have a motion on the floor?
it was not seconded
Okay. Okay.
because a tabling motion seconded stops all debate.
Just for clarification, Ray did second it.
I did second.
So
Oh.
I
This
was,
motion.
yeah, so I'll just simply withdraw if the rest of the council's happy with the rewrite.
Are you agreeable in seconding?
I would like to spend more time on it, mostly.
Okay,
Or, that's,
but
go through,
for the tabling motion,
yes.
to talk things,
Okay.
okay, that the table motion disappeared. We have a motion moved. Is there a seconder to go ahead with the suggested change in the wording? Or do you want to take a little till the next meeting to look at it?
I think without the second, I think we should just take that extra look, still have it done in September 2nd.
I may be wrong, but I think you can't have a table in motion without a motion already being on the floor, and there wasn't a motion prior to the tabling. We were
We
just,
just the tabling off, it's gone.
Tabling is gone.
it's gone. Good.
We're simply just now suggesting we should just have another look at it and bring it back for the September 2nd meeting. Unless you come up with a second.
Okay, I've made a motion.
Yes.
If there's no seconder, we will vote.
Okay. Direction to get to staff that we want that brought back September 2nd.
Any other comments on the review that was taken?
No, I was just gonna say, is there further information that you want staff to gather up for you? We've been through the agreement, and as Gary said, there, it was basically housekeeping items. We wanted to make sure that everything was as clear as possible. Other than, there was, what we were trying to do on the schedules was to review all of those, and we have attached the applications, which weren't part of the agreement before, just to make everything clear. And one note, though, Don did bring to my attention on Schedule B, item number 14, that property is actually not connected to sanitary sewer, but we have had an agreement to connect that property to sanitary sewer. So that's a very minor change there. But is there, what information, in addition to what's in here, would council like to see?
I just haven't had the opportunity to really write into it. There was a couple things that I thought I was gonna to mention, but I will go through it again for the next meeting.
If you have any questions, could you see me and we can
Yes.
go over it in detail, though, so
Yeah.
that you're clear?
Well, well,
Moving to bylaw number 57, 2014, being a bylaw to appoint an acting chief administrative officer clerk for the township of North Huron. And Bailey seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 58, 2014. A bylaw to amend Schedule B and Schedule C of Bylaw 54, 2007. Being a bylaw to adopt the emergency management program for the Township of North Huron. Callahan and Campbell. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay. Bylaw number 59, 2014. Being a bylaw to close a portion of Arthur Street and a lane, Plan 410 in the William Ward in the Township of North Huron. Gary?
Thank you, Reeve. Just by way of background, Council passed essentially this bylaw last year, but it was missing, the bylaw missed Part 6 on Reference Plan 22R 6027. So we're recommending that the bylaw that was passed last year, 42, 2013, be repealed and replaced with this bylaw, bylaw number 59, 2014. Nothing's changed. This is regarding property around the trailer park and the Wingham Legion. And as I said, the bylaw the council passed last year fortunately missed Part 6 on the reference plan. So this bylaw includes that reference.
Who's second?
Campbell and Bailey. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Moving to council reports and inquiries. Brock?
I have something I'd like to bring up for discussion at a future time, probably with some input from staff. We had visitors to the community from Michigan and Indiana this past week, and we wanted to show them the place where their great-great-grandfather's first wife was buried, which happened to be what we now call the horticultural park in Blythe. So I knew that I was going to be taking them there because that his wife's tombstone is there, with including the name of their young daughter. But when I went to the park, I found the conditions not up to par in terms of how a cemetery should be placed. And unfortunately, there was a pile of loose sod right in front of this tombstone. You couldn't actually read the bottom part of it because of it. And it was work in progress at the center. So it strikes me that that as a council, we really haven't come to terms with the fact that that is a cemetery. It's not just a park, and it's not just a matter of cutting grass. So what I would like to suggest is that we take some time to consider what are the proper maintenance standards for that facility, for that cemetery, and possibly an investigation of the ownership of that property. It may be another headache for Donna, because according to some of our information, it's probably still owned by the Presbyterian Church of Canada, which had the first Presbyterian church was built on that property, and it was a Presbyterian cemetery. But there are other things in the aesthetic values of the place. There were some old flower beds there that had no flowers in them, and it was an overgrowth. The staff moved in and they cleaned it up as well as they could on a short-term notice. But this is not a problem with staff. This is not a matter of staff. I think council needs to set a policy and procedure and sort of set the standards for that kind of facility. And I'd like us to discuss it at a future council meeting.
Taken under advisement. James.
Just something that's been brought to my attention, and I don't know whether we should have the sergeant from the OPP come and talk to us at a council meeting or not. But the speed that some of those cars go through our municipality, when they're going to an accident We had an accident just east of Platte there a week ago. One of those police cars that was responding to that accident went through East Walmarsh. They went down my road at a terrific speed. And there was farmers going down the roads delivering wheat to the mill. I just wonder if there's been 3 farmers approached me on this. The speed that guy was going through, I know he was going through an accident, but he could have caused 2 or 3 more accidents going to that accident. So I don't know, I'm just bringing up this for a suggestion. I don't know what we should do about this, but I think it's something that we need to talk about. I don't know. I'm just bringing this up. It was brought to my attention, and I said I would bring it.
I would suggest that the staff contact the community safety officer, I forget her name, and she's conduit for any concerns or the like of those things. So I think I would pass those comments on to her so she's aware of it, those concerns, and she can take them back to the detachment.
I just think it's something we need to.
It's something new that it has been brought forward before us, but it definitely seems to need to be refreshed. Anything else from council? Yeah.
Something I've noticed, and I was asked as well, on London Road, south of Belgrade, we don't want to discourage business, but the question becomes, there's a Huron RV, you now have signs up that are displaying trailers on the property, but from what I've heard, what I've been asked, the property is zoned residential, not commercial. They're operating it as a trailer dealership, like there have been signs and are signs on it now, and there are at least three trailers being displayed there, which is fine. I personally wouldn't have an objection to running a dealership there, but does it have proper zoning? That should be looked into, and your request, if they wish to operate it, is such that they apply for proper zoning if it doesn't have. See the number there? That's 84,735.
Sure. I know the property unit for sure.
Yeah.
We'll have our bylaw enforcement officer check the zoning on that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Anything else from council? Okay, moving forward. Clerk Administrator's report.
Okay, thank you, Reed. Just a reminder that this Wednesday we have a public meeting at the North Huron Westcast Community Complex regarding the conceptual plans that were developed by the University of Guelph students for part of the Maitland River along Riverside Park in Wingham. Again, that's this Wednesday, August 20th at 7 p.m. at the North Huron Westcast Community Complex. Provided council with a copy of an announcement made by Premier Wynne this afternoon regarding Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund and Building Canada Fund, and specifically funding for small communities. I haven't had a chance to study the announcement, but suffice to say there is money available for small communities. Small communities for this program were defined as communities under 100,000 residents. There's an Ontario portion, there's a federal portion. Municipalities will be able to submit 2 proposals, one for the Ontario program and one for the federal program. And there's a list of eligible project categories on the information that I've provided. I know of certainly 1 or 2 projects in the township that could be characterized as shovel-ready, but I think council and staff will want to have a further discussion as to other projects where we may want to submit an application for funding.
It would always look great for the province, the federal government, when they offer different funds that are available. In a number of instances, they're matching funds. And so in order to partake in some of these, the municipality needs to have funds also, whether it's a 1/3, 2/3. that is getting increasingly difficult with all the money that the provincial government keeps cutting from our OMPF funding. So I find that an interesting,
The fund that's pretty well gone.
yes, thank you. Anyway. See.
Bernie,
Just going back to the park and the dam project that we're gonna be looking at on Wednesday. We haven't seen that before council. Council hasn't seen any of this information, have we? I don't recall seeing it at council. So we'll be going public with that at the same time council sees it.
That's, there are councillors that have been kept in the loop of what's
there's
going on.
some of the council has seen it, not all.
I believe
This is a public meeting to bring it all forward. Council will not be making decisions on it. It is an information meeting.
Some councilors have been part of it and seen it, and other councilors haven't.
There was some, James, do you want to describe it?
Yes, it was down to the presentation. Well,
I think, well, when they were making presentations, so you're the only council that has, but you have seen. You're the only council from North Carolina.
yes, I actually went as
Guys.
representative from North.
Yes, sir.
Don't have a conversation.
Okay, so I was just questioning him on, he is the only council because somebody said some councilors had seen it, and I was kind of questioning that.
Just to clarify, the dam portion of the project, that's what I was referring to, not the other. I know that there was also I understood anyway from one of the, two of the people that are involved in community volunteers and hoping to rehabilitate the dam, will also have presentation at the homecoming for public, so the public would be aware. So that was what I was referring to.
Yes. Okay. But really, it's an education meeting, things forward as to the study that was done and some of the recommendations that they made. Council will not be making any decisions that night.
Just one final thing, just a quick election update. We have formed an election committee of staff here at North Huron. The committee is comprised of myself, our deputy clerk, our manager of business employee services, as well as acting clerk Barb Wilson. We've had a couple of meetings. We're making sure that we've got the advertising in place and the forms in place and the systems and processes and so on. We've also made some enhancements to the municipal website. You'll see now on the North Huron website homepage that there's a election banner. It's in orange with black lettering. If you go there, it'll take you directly to an election 2014 page that has all kinds of information for voters and for candidates and so on. We're also finalizing a candidates guide that will include a lot of information about council, about the election, and these guides, these packages of information will be made available to candidates who are running this fall. I also wanted to confirm that, that we will have one ballot box located here at the municipal office for those who want to physically drop off their ballot. So there will be one ballot box, and that will be located here at the municipal office. As you know, we're going with the vote by mail election process. That's what we're promoting. That's what we've paid for, and we feel that every resident and eligible elector in the township has an opportunity to receive the vote by mail package in the mail, provided that they're on the voters list. And it is their responsibility to ensure that every elector has an opportunity to get a package, to complete the package, put it in the mail, and it's as simple as that. And so that's what we're encouraging. Thank you.
Might add to that, to those that if people want to look up whether they're on the list or not, they have to go to this office. They're no longer available for North Huron since the MPAC has distributed our voters list. I checked on that today, and they said North Huron doesn't exist anymore in their system.
We'll need to check on that, but certainly anybody, any resident of North Huron who wants to confirm that they're on the voters list, they can do so through the municipal office. If someone finds that they're not on the voters list and they want to be on the voters list, then staff will assist them in completing an application to amend the voters list, and we'll, it's a simple one-page form, and you just need to fill that out, and staff will add them to the voters list, and they'll get a package, vote by mail package.
Bill?
That actually brought up exactly what I was going to ask about. Can you not receive that as a PDF? Can you not just post that on the website so that people can look it up themselves?
The voters list?
Yeah.
Not under the Freedom of Information Act.
So we are,
Okay.
just further to the Reeves comments, we're able to make available at the township office a copy of the voters list for public viewing. But legally, we're not allowed to put that on our website.
Disclose the entire list.
Right.
So could you put just an application form on? They can just fill in an email to you and find out. Simple form.
Yeah, we could put the application to amend the voters list right on.
And just to carry on a little on the voting, I notice there's no information explaining the mail-in voting yet on the website. Is it possible not some basic outline for people, because I've been asked several times what the voting is going to be, how it's going to operate. I prefer
Take another
to
direction for staff to do that.
just, very simple synopsis. This is how it's going to work. You'll get a package, you mail it back. Would be helpful.
They had actually, through your worship, they had, Gary had presented us with some examples a few meetings ago. It would be good if we could post something like that on the website, because it was very simple and clear and showed people how to do it. So if we can get something from them and put it on the website.
That would be good. Yeah.
I'd just like to add one more thing. The voters list is sacrosanct. Candidates can get a copy of the voters list, but they have to pledge that they will use it only for election purposes, and in many cases, and I think maybe in all cases, they're required to return it at the end of the election process.
Candidates will be required to sign a form of that effect. Thank you.
So that's all you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to public gallery questions and/or comments of topics that we've covered tonight. Pauline?
Just a question through to Pat. I didn't quite hear those numbers for the Hetman tournament. Oh, I just need the numbers.
So the, as their current booking would be now, it's $590.70 plus tax, and that fee has been reduced to $350 plus tax. The tent fee is you got it. Okay.
Thank you.
Other question? Terry?
It's in regards to Roxwood Cemetery, about keeping it clean and all that. Is that actually part of the municipality, or is that owned by the church? It's not about this place.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that. I think that's one of the things that Councilor Bottom saying. We need to
We need to research as to who actually owns it.
and who's responsible for it.
Whoever, sorry.
Go ahead.
Whoever owns it, it's a registered cemetery. Even though most of the bodies were removed to Union Cemetery when it was created, there are still some bodies left there. And the existing tombstones have been built into a cairn, which shows, I think, most of the remaining tombstones. So.
Another question kind of relates to that. I was worried about the cemetery having some, it's not up to par, but I brought some family in from out of town, and we went to this park over here. I don't know the name of it. But there was garbage all over the place, and
In Wingham?
yes, it's in Wingham. I guess it's a splash pad. And it's
Oh, at the splash pad? Okay.
that what it's called, Splash Pad Park? Or?
Well, it's part of Riverside Park, but
But anyways, we went through the community trail. It's not really clearly marked because we ended up in somebody's backyard almost. And they told us that you have to go down the street to get to this trail that goes up and around. So it's really not clearly marked. And I've been here 4 years and it was the first time I knew that there was a community trail over there. I thought I just started here and went that way and around. But it's not clearly marked. There's a new subdivision or newer subdivision.
you're talking east of
Crossover.
the main street?
Correct.
Okay.
It's not clearly marked. And my aunts and my cousins are saying, like, why don't they mark them? They mark everywhere else we go. You guys want to promote the walking. And also in regards to the trail, when we walk down the trail, we saw a considerable amount of garbage all over, like, along the trail and the bushes. And, we saw a townsperson pick up the garbage, drive their vehicle through the park, pick up the garbage can and empty the garbage can, but they didn't pick up the garbage around it. So, you know, it's kind of embarrassing. I bring my family in and you see the stuff. And it's, you know, I seen Kelly pick up garbage off the street, and I myself, when I go down, I saw Kelly picking up garbage off the front here. I'm putting it in the bin, and I did too, but we pay taxes. If you got garbage, it should be picked up. Do we own that park? Or is that a conservation park?
I'm not 100% sure where you are in Wigham, but there is a community trail, and we just recently added a number of signs and then ordered some more signs to go up. So we are aware that the trail can always be better marked because there are a number of entrance and exit spots. The garbage is a challenge in any community. I encourage all people that live here, when they pass a piece of garbage, to pick it up and to use the receptacle in the first place. But you're right, it's only as good as the last time a staff person went through there and picked up the garbage. You can turn around and the next night more garbage can be left behind. But it's always a challenge, and we do our best, but I encourage everybody in the community to always help with that. And we do have some fantastic trail volunteers that walk that trail every morning and pick up the garbage off it and deposit it into our garbage pail. So we appreciate all the help we get from the community with that, but I'll definitely bring that to the attention of all of our staff to make sure that we're doing our best.
Sure. And also, there's a gazebo down there that's like with some paint and some work on down there. I know that Doug was going around with his little committee, painting the fire hydrants and all that, but I noticed that off Main Street, none of the fire hydrants were painted. And that was another thing my cousin and actually my mother brought up, is that it wasn't done, so just little things like that.
Okay. Those things are noted and here. Any other comments?
You were talking about a vote by mail for the upcoming election. I just wonder, is there going to be anything with links to the candidates that are applying to be elected on council? Like any kind of link to information about those councils? Because in most cases, when you're voting and you're not familiar with the area, you're not familiar with the councilors, you're kind of like, well, what do they stand for? What do they represent?
Archie?
I would suggest, just I think from my experience in the past in other municipalities and whatnot, that it's usually up to the candidates to do that. The municipality isn't actually allowed to start putting things out about piles, but normally the candidates do.
Okay, I was just curious if whether
Yeah,
there was
I think it's going to.
I'm
sure that's going to happen.
Can I just make a comment? It's kind of in regard to what he just asked, real quick. Simply for consideration that there are multiple candidates that have already lined up in Wigham. Don't know whether there's going to be multiple candidates in Blythe. Brock's doesn't put it in. Okay, there you go. Okay, but the Huron Chamber of Commerce is running the all candidates debate in Central Huron, and they have said they'd be willing to host one up here. Okay, information. So if everybody's amenable to that, that can arrange.
That I'm aware of the BIAs are thinking of doing all candidates in both Wigham and Blythe. Nothing They have been asked to consider it. So, okay. Going to Pauline.
Just a comment, the newspapers usually publish bios.
That has been done as long as I can remember, that the local newspapers do bios on the candidates in each municipality that's close. Rob?
Just a question, are you talking about a candidate forum where the candidates can
debate
publicly address?
Yes.
Other comments or questions?
Excuse me.
Donna?
So I would just like to say that tonight, since it's Gary's last formal council meeting, just Neil, you were probably going to say something, but on behalf of staff, we would just like to express our appreciation to Gary and how much we've enjoyed working with you, and it's certainly our loss and Blue Water's gain, but we really appreciate that you're staying within the county, and all the friendships and contacts that you've been making, we can continue those, and certainly wish you all success, and wish you well, Gary. We've enjoyed our time with you for sure. Thank you.
Okay. But I think in speaking for council, it's been a good learning experience for everybody. That you brought certain skills when you came to us. Hopefully, we gave you the municipal courses that really helped you and that helped us in turn. But thank you very much for your efforts in the past 5 years. It's okay with me if certain councillors want to make comments, because we do have a lengthy in-camera session with 5 points to discuss. So before I take the motion, the councillors, Councillor McGowan.
Just like to wish Gary all the best in his future endeavors, and as Donna said, he's not out of the county, so I'm sure we'll bump into him, and there'll be things that we might be working on in the future too. So all the best and good luck. Thanks very much, Councilor.
Rob?
Gary, it's been great working with you. We learned a lot, and I hope that we taught you some of the right things. Maybe we're a bad example, I don't know. But anyway, we look forward to seeing you around in the future.
Bernie.
Terry, I just want to wish you good luck too. I've appreciated that anytime I pick that phone up or had an email within 10 minutes, you're back to me, including on Sunday. I might have to end up missing that on the next time around, but if I'm around. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, my friend, just a pleasure.
Thank you, Gary. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Councilor. Good luck.
James.
Thank you, Gary. I learned a lot. I think you probably learned a lot. I enjoyed working with you.
Well, I appreciate wasn't expecting that from staff and council, but I've thoroughly enjoyed working with all of you and with staff and community stakeholders. And I appreciate the opportunity that I was given by council back in the fall of 2009. And I like working here. I like being here. I like working with you and staff and the community. And as I've said to others, sometimes there's occasions in life where opportunities come along and you take them. And I guess that's what I'm doing here. And as I really enjoyed working with all of you. And as I said before, in my case, I've had an opportunity to work provincially and federally, and I really enjoyed those opportunities. But the level of government that's most fulfilling and gratifying is the municipal level, in my opinion, because unlike the federal and provincial level, we have an opportunity to make a difference on a daily basis, to make a meaningful impact on a daily basis. And so that's my personal motivation, and that's why I enjoy doing what I'm doing with you, with staff, and the community. So for me, it's a collaboration between all of us. But never forget that we have an opportunity to make a real meaningful impact and difference on a daily basis. And I think together, you and I and staff and the community have achieved a lot. And I think we're positioned for success in the future. So thank you very much.
Sort of the last sentence or two. The last 5 years have been a time of change, redevelopment. Thank you for your assistance in us getting through them, so that I will accept a motion to go in camera. Campbell and Bailey. All in favor? We will have a short recess.
Well, I think